Well, thanks, Elizabeth, and good morning here from Fulton County. Like Elizabeth said, I want to share just a little bit about our Crimper Termination Trial. We've really been playing around with the Crimper here in Fulton County with some local equipment manufacturers since 2018, but I'd like to share today with you in particular our trial from 2019, which can be found on the hard copy eFields booklet, pages 124 and 125. I assume it's very similar in the online version. So there's my email if you have any questions afterwards, but it's also on the digital ag page and eFields. So our overall objectives with regard to the rye termination or Crimper trial, whichever you want to call it, is really to compare the effectiveness of Crimper termination versus what we were hoping to be early chemical termination of a cereal rye cover crop or with crop. We also had the objective that we were hoping to use less herbicide, and so on the Crimper pass, our goal was to take out a burndown pass as well as a residual herbicide. And some of the reasons for that is the residual herbicide in some cases causes some fall cover crop establishment issues. And we believe that some of the research that our weed science department has done has shown that cereal rye, an overwintering cereal grain like cereal rye, can have a pretty good effect on mare's tail and some of our other winter and summer annuals. Additionally, long-term, I think this Crimper trial and some of the work that our colleagues in Wisconsin and North Dakota have done is to show that there's an increased organic matter and therefore increased soil resilience over time. So I'm fortunate to work in 2018. On the right is a picture of the Ninja Crimper, which at the time was a prototype and is now, I think, commercially available. I know it's commercially available. And then in 2019, we worked with Smythe Manufacturing through our local Redline equipment dealership. So we appreciate both manufacturers' relationships. A quick rundown of our protocol. We do believe that it's really important to have replications. In this case, they were alternating replications, and I'm only showing you 2 out of the 5 replications, just so that it fits more largely on the screen. So, like I said, the goal was to compare a burn down versus crimping, and you can see that we tried to have 40-foot widths. Our combine grain table was going to be used as a 30-foot grain table, and I'll show you that in a bit. But our hope was that the burn down pass was going to happen in early May, possibly late April, but we all know kind of how that went. And then the Crimper trial or the Crimper termination was going to occur at anthesis. A pretty critical piece to the Crimper termination trial is that once that rye hits anthesis and you crimp it, you knock it over and put some dents in it or crimps in the stem, it will die on its own without herbicide. So we could have crimped as early as the first week of June, first 5 days of June, but really didn't feel like that was a good time to get in there. So after we burned down on June 5th and then crimped on June 12th, we planted that same day. And in reality, we planted ahead of crimping. We believe that the material would flow through the planter better if it was upright. And so we did not have the equipment sized in perfect widths. The planter was narrower than the 30-foot crimper, 40-foot crimper. And so that's why we chose to plant ahead of time. The next pass was a post-emergent herbicide pass. We did choose to use the Extend trait platform, and so that allowed us to use an approved dicamba glyphosate product, which was sprayed on June 26th. I do need to back up just a little bit. That Crimper pass did not have any burn down in it or any residual, and due to how late the trial occurred or the burn down occurred, the burn down did also not include a residual. It was merely a 2,4-D glyphosate burn down program. And so not exactly ideal for what we were hoping to do with this trial, but we tried to squeeze some lemonade out of lemonade. And then finally, after that post-emergent pass, we harvested on October 19th, and again we took the center of those passes. Here's some quick pictures. This is what the crimper looks like as it was handling cereal rye. This is what it looked like after a lot of that cereal rye was laid down. We do think that there's an advantage to drilling the rye and as early in the fall as you can to get that established, get it thickened up so that there's really a critical mass of cereal rye to lay down with this crimper and kind of create that thatch layer that we're looking for. And the third picture on this screen shows the alternating treatments, the burn down treatment followed by or next to the crimp treatment. After emergence, this is what the beans looked like. It was not a perfect system, but a lot of that, again, I put on Mother Nature. We didn't have perfect emergence because we got beat up with quite a bit of rain after planting. But were quite clean, not perfect, but quite clean. And one of the things that we noticed as we were harvesting was just this nice, again, thatch layer mat of cereal rye that laid down perfectly or laid down well, not perfectly, but and made harvest go quite well. So results of the trial showed that there was no statistical difference in yield between the chemical burn down versus the crimper. 62, 63 bushels per acre. We were very happy with that. And then LSD of 4.4 bushels to the acre. Some observations, where rye gets drowned out in the spring or fall, that could be some issues in using this widely. Have to pay attention to how well that rye gets established. Suggest that as early as you can establish it in those corn stalks by drill and or air seeder, and at ideally 80. I think we would say 70 to 100 pounds. In some cases more. This actually was with just a little bit over 100 pounds of rye, or 2 bags to the acre drilled. Again, we didn't have the timing differential in 2019 that we hoped for. We hope to replicate this trial in 2020 with a better differential. Some future learning. I think whenever we do some of these soil health type conservation type research projects, we want to evaluate the trade-off, and I put them at $15 to $20 versus of herbicide versus a $15 to $20 crimper pass, and there's probably a fair bit of wiggle room in both of those dollar figures, depending on how many acres you cover and how you do buying your herbicides. We'll continue to reduce the herbicides in the system. We are seeking, as we have with a peer learning group earlier this week, how do we measure soil health and water quality benefits in a system like this? That's something that we're really excited about. Farmers have been asking about how can we share, soil health metrics in strip trials that are done on farm. So we'll continue to move the planting time up 2 weeks. In both 2018 and 2019, our planting dates were a little bit later than preferred, but we'll keep working at that. And we know that there's a continued interest in this practice from growers. And so we'll take your insight from it as you're willing to give it. So I'll share that last picture was actually from a 2018 trial, bottom right-hand corner. The beans just really exploded through that thatch layer, and that was an area that or a field that didn't receive any herbicide all year long, just as a demonstration, not replicated research. So, thanks for your time.